we talk about boundaries and not settling for men in our lives. You also cannot settle for shitty fucking friends in your life. Stop being such a fucking victim. Like, did you say it to them? Guys, do we not understand that that's what they're trying to do? If that conversation does not go well, they are not receptive, then ending the friendship doesn't really sound like the worst thing. Your life will not continue to get better and better and better if that's how you live. Just saying. DBAD, baby. That stands for don't be a dick if you're new here. And we're not sugarcoating shit. So let's get into it, shall we? Hi, my gals. Based on my DMs, some of y'all are thick in friendship breakups, toxic friendships, not sure if you should move on from a friend, not sure why someone is treating you XYZ way. So we are going to get into that. I've actually done a podcast episode probably like multiple years ago on this, but it's a topic I feel very passionate about and I definitely want to get into it. But first, I don't know if any of y'all are like me, but I am suckered into this Nancy Guthrie missing kidnapping case. So today is Wednesday. Hopefully by the time this airs on Monday, she has been found alive and everything is fine and back to normal. If you don't want to listen to this like true crimeness, just fast forward through this. But does anybody else feel like they are watching an absolutely fucking terrible Criminal Minds episode? I feel like it is, and I say this with love and grace, right? Because like, if this is a true thing, then this is someone's mother. She's 84 years old. Like, it just feels like everyone is a terrible fucking actor and we are just like watching a movie play in real time. It's just so much of it is unbelievable. And I know that it might be unbelievable because this is so fucked up and so crazy. But I'm obviously not a true crime expert. I really don't love to like soak into true crime because it's real and it gives me so much anxiety. Those pictures that they just released of that man breaking into her home are absolutely fucking terrifying. If this does not urge you to get security systems, to know how to operate a weapon, to defend yourself, to not open a fucking door, if somebody knocks on it, I don't know if that's what I actually don't know if that's what happened, but like I do not ever answer my door. It's actually kind of hard for someone to get to our front door, but if they were to, I would never fucking answer it. And you are fucking correct that I would be armed and ready to protect myself if I'm ever here alone, which is extremely rare. But anyway, and one of the things I guess is that she didn't have the like subscription going to be recording her like security cameras at all times, which was difficult for them to get that footage, I guess. So if you have a fucking camera protecting your house, which you 1000% should be, make sure that you are paying, if you can, for the subscription so that it is always recording. I think when we looked into it, our price went up. I think it was like $75 a month, which is a lot, but 1000% worth it. Anyway, at this point in time, if there's anything good that could come out of this, obviously so fucking sad, terrifying, horrifying, but have your house on fucking lock. That is your home. If you have children inside, if you have pets inside, if you have loved ones inside, which I'm sure you do, including yourself, you have to fucking be protected. You think that it's never going to happen to you, and I pray to God that it never does. But I'm sure Nancy Guthrie, an 84-year-old woman, I'm sure her children were like, oh, it never happened to her. Like, they live in a very affluent area. She had a camera, sure. But like an 84-year-old woman who is living alone, her children should have access to those cameras. Her children should have been notified on their phone with a loud ding, not some silent bullshit, a loud ding that someone is at her front door. Like, and I don't mean to like fearmonger, but I think that so many people want to live in a world that's like, no, it's a bubble, no, they're fucking not. There are so many people in this world who have malicious intent. They're fucking cruel. They're criminals. Protect yourself, protect your loved ones. If you don't know how to operate a weapon, learn, okay? That's just my opinion. Anyway, that case is absolutely terrifying. And also, I don't know if this is true, but the whole entire thing just feels a little off. It feels a little bit like a hoax or maybe perhaps a distraction. I don't know, the whole like Bitcoin thing, like when they were like, and someone said that Savannah reading like the piece of paper, like shaking, was very similar to the movie Silence of the Lambs, which is also fucking terrifying. So I don't know. I obviously say that I'm trying to be respectful because like this is someone's family. And like if this is a true fucking thing, like this is terrible. And I don't mean to put that out there, but like, I don't know. I just get such an odd fucking feeling. And I've gotten odd feelings watching things before. And then it's come to light that that person is like maybe a little fucking off or whatever. Speaking of distraction, okay, the Epstein files that came out, I'm not going to get into it because it fucking makes me want to throw up. I'm going to say this. If you were someone who was demanding that people on the internet speak about the terrible things going on with ICE, the deportations, all that fucking bullshit that's going on in this corrupt fucking world, if you were demanding that, saying, I'm unfollowing you, you're not doing this, you have to speak and use your platform, and you're not doing the same fucking thing about the Epstein files with all of these powerful people, celebrities, Hollywood, politicians, people who are literally, I don't even like to say this word, R-word, children. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, that is fucking disgusting. Oh my God, sorry, I literally cannot get into it. But the whole entire thing is disgusting and fucking foul. And in my opinion, it's not political in the sense of right, left, everyone was fucking involved, okay? It's disgusting. But one thing I will say about it that I think that is true is powerful people, okay? And I'm trying to like dance around this, right? Because one of the scariest things about this to me is that they put that out there. Like, there's a lot of power in the world, right? There's a lot of control in the world. You let those files come out. You knew that people were going to read them and see it. And you knew that people would feel so fucking terrified, helpless, out of control, and not sure what the fuck to do about any of that because there will probably be no repercussions of it because people in power just seem to get by with fucking everything. I feel like that's where they want us. They want us to feel fear of the powers that be. That, yeah, this is the disgusting shit that we do at our little parties. This is what we do on our free time. It is out there, evident to the world, crystal clear in a fucking email. Dumbasses, for many reasons. And you knew that everyone was going to read it and feel absolutely helpless. Like there is nothing that they can, like there is nothing that we can do. And I feel like that's the point. They're like sticking it to us. They're like, yeah, look how fucking sick and twisted we are. All the disgusting, demonic, nasty shit that we do. And there is absolutely nothing that you can do about it. Because that's how I feel. I don't know about anyone else. I try not to really get into it. So if this is like triggering, I really hope you're not listening to it. Do not go on the internet and look for these kind of things. If you have been blessed enough to not see anything about it, I don't mean to like keep people sheltered or like in a bubble or anything, but don't listen to it. Don't read it. Don't look at it. It's actually really, really affected my mental health. And that's why I really hate talking about it. So I'm going to stop. But yeah, I just think that I think this is going to sound so fucked up, but like, I feel like everything is fake. Like, I feel like we know nothing. Like with the whole Nancy Guthrie case, it's like, you mean to tell me you have this motherfucker's eyes and mouth shape and like body movements. And with today's technology and AI, you can't find this motherfucker? You scan our eyes when we go into the airport. You probably scan our eyes on our motherfucking iPhones and you can't find him? You have his eyeballs. I think it's a man. I don't really think it's a woman. And I don't know. The reading of the ransom notes, like this is an ongoing, extremely serious investigation and you're just reading that out to the general public for like entertainment. I really don't think that that's true. I don't think that that's how they would handle it. I don't know. I fucking don't have any experience in any of that. Thank God. Hope I never do. Hope any of you never do. But I could never be a true crime podcaster. I could never be someone who talks about like things that go on in the world, politics, true crime, the news. Like it's so fucking depressing and sad. And again, what a privilege to be in that situation. But holy shit, I have so much anxiety right now. So let's get into something a little lighter. Not really that light. But anyway, last episode, I had put up a question box on my Instagram stories beforehand. I was like, hey, I have a couple topics in mind, but what do you want to talk about? So many people said toxic friendships. Well, then, yes, last night I put up a question box. Hey, I'm going to talk about toxic friendships, all of that, blah, blah, blah. Let me know any specifics that you want to talk about. That question box is so full. There are just so many people who are going through a toxic friendship, a breakup, not sure if they should have a friendship breakup. So let's get into it. I have a couple things that I want to say off the cuff. One, friendship breakups are more devastating than romantic breakups because there is so much confusion usually around them. With a romantic breakup, it's like talked about in society. Like everybody knows, like, oh, they broke up. AK, that means they are not together anymore. They are going to be with other people. There was probably a conversation that happened. This didn't work out because of X, Y, and Z. Like some of the hardest romantic breakups are when there's really no closure. But I feel like majority of the time there is, and it's like clear as day. Like you used to be dating. Now, no more. No more. You are not dating anymore. It's very clear. With friendship breakups, so much of the time what I see is it's not clear. So if you feel like anxiety around it, if you feel unsure, if you feel grief, sadness, what did I do wrong, blah, 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 I feel like that is so fucking normal and it's really, really hard to navigate. So I just want to start with that if if you feel fucking weird about a friendship breakup or whatever, that is so fucking normal. It's so different than a romantic breakup. And me, in my past, a friendship breakup, very, very sad because I like tell my girlfriends everything. I tell Troy, for example, 98% of things. But my girlfriends, I don't know, I feel like I can be absolutely feral and insane with them and like my thoughts and what I share, blah, blah, blah. And not that I don't with Troy, but it's just different. And I think that we can all agree on that, right? Here's what I do want to say. And I say this very gently, but I mean this, okay? I feel like there are some people who listen to a podcast episode like this and they are looking for validation that they are the victim, that they did not deserve a friendship breakup, that they did not deserve someone to stop hanging out with them, when in reality, there are some people who have friends walk away from them, no longer hang out with them, no longer call them or text them, and it's kind of on them. It's like the person listening. They're not the victim in this. It's sad that it happened, but there are a lot of people who say things like, oh, that person's too sensitive. Like, I didn't mean it when I said that. Or, oh my gosh, this person's so needy. Like they were all mad because I didn't check in on them postpartum and now they don't talk to me anymore. Like it's not everything's about you, but you know, those kind of people. Like, so make sure that, and that's sometimes hard to hear. That's sometimes hard to swallow, but are you saying like someone is too sensitive or too needy or whatever, but in reality, you're just like not being a good friend? Like that is, I think, very real. And something to just keep in the back of your mind. So there were a lot of responses in this question box and then a lot of follow-up DMs. A lot of people saying, hey, but don't share these details because that person follows you and they are going to know I'm talking about you. So I'm going to try to dance around this, but try to answer some of these questions. One somewhat common denominator that I see is people maybe needing to hear that there are seasons of your life, there are chapters of your life, and it is totally normal to, quote, outgrow people. If we take ourselves back to like college, for example, I'll just share my experience. I lived with my still 5 best friends. We are literally, we talk about it all the time. We are so fucking lucky that for the last 16 years, we have been the best of best friends. We have talked every single day about every single thing, every single season of life for 16 years. Like, I treasure that friendship so incredibly much because I know how insanely rare that is. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of intentionality, big word. It takes a lot of passing the ball of who is the strong one. It actually makes me kind of emotional. The shit that I have experienced and gone through with those 4 women who At times, I was the rock, or four of us were the rock, and this person, they lost their dad. This person went through a miscarriage. This person, their parents got divorced. This person, their stepdad passed away. Like all of these things that we have gone through together, and we are just so insanely lucky, but I know that that is so fucking rare. So shout out to my gals. You know who you are. But anyway, back to college, okay? So I lived with them, right? Like it is somewhat easy to make friends in college, right? Everyone is in the same area. A lot of people don't have like, quote, real life responsibilities, as in children, a quote, real job. Like I bartended my whole entire time in college, but like it's a lot easier. I mean, I think we can all admit it was easier to make friends in college in that scene than it is as fucking adults, right? As grown adults with families and careers and jobs, and you move, blah, blah, blah. You're all in the same fucking house. I mean, how can you not, you know what I mean? Like, and I've definitely lived with people who I'm not best friends with and wasn't best friends with and whatever. But like for the majority of the time, that is easy, okay? You're doing the same things. You're going to the same places. You have the same schedule. It's easy. As you grow up and you move into careers and you move cities and you don't literally live with that person or across the street from that person or go into the same events every single night, it's like you're guaranteed to see that person. It is very normal to quote, outgrow that person, or that person was just, I don't mean outgrow as in you're better than them, or you know what I mean? But like, it's very normal for that person to maybe just be in your life for that specific chapter, that specific season. Normal. If you move cities, grow up, have a family, start a career, blah, 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 and you're not best friends with that person, it's sad, but it's very normal and it's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make them a bad person. When you grow up and you are a young adult, an adult, whatever, it is very difficult to keep friendships if there is not intentionality on both sides. And I think that's where so much of the confusion and the sadness comes in with people is like, oh, well, I still want to be friends with you, but that other person maybe isn't giving that back. It can be really confusing. There's obviously a million different reasons as to why, but I want everyone to understand that not everyone is willing to put in the work to be a good friend. It takes a lot of time. Not everyone is willing to put in the work. And I think that's a hard truth to swallow and accept, especially if you love the person and you're willing to do this and you're willing to go meet them and fly to their city and plan things. A lot of people aren't willing to do that. We talk about boundaries and not settling for men in our lives. You also cannot settle for shitty fucking friends in your life. Those women, I'm just gonna pretend that we're all girls here. Those women will literally make you who you are. You will pick up their characteristics. You will pick up how they speak to themselves. You will pick up how they speak to other people, how they operate in the world, their beliefs, their hopes, their dreams, their visions. You will pick up so much of that and you will become so similar to them, okay? There's a reason why friend groups, they're all very similar. Like if you think about it, a bunch of women hanging out together, their fucking menstrual cycles sync up. That's how much we are all intertwined. So if you don't think that that's happening with your mind, you're crazy. So you have to be particular about who you are hanging out with. And that goes on both ends. Like if someone, and I mean this with so much love, but if someone doesn't want to hang out with you or they're not making plans with you, again, I know that that's really fucking hard to hear, but maybe they're trying to, I'm just pulling this example out of my ass, but like maybe there's someone who really wants to level up their career or they really want to level up their health or they really want to do blah, blah, blah. And this other person is out partying every weekend, doesn't give a shit about their job, cheating on their spouse, doing all these things. This person who's trying to elevate their career and elevate their life and relationships doesn't want to be friends with someone like that. It doesn't make this person a bad person. It makes them very protective of their surroundings, protective of their time, their energy, and they're really protective of who they're trying to become. I think if you're cheating on your spouse and you're like doing all those things, then yeah, maybe you're a low level person, but like, it's like just not matching up. So you really need to open your eyes and be like, am I this person? Am I this person? Do I need to remove these people? Like that happens. And I feel like that's necessary for growth. So just remember that longevity is not the same thing as loyalty. Okay. Just because you were really good friends with someone in college and you've been best friends with them for 10 plus years and blah, 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 that does not mean that you have to stay loyal to them. They might have been in your life for just a season or a chapter. It doesn't mean that you owe them, to be totally honest, to stay best friends with them if the relationship is really hard, they're not making the effort, they make you feel small, they make you feel really anxious, you are questioning the friendship all the time, they're not reciprocating. If you don't feel loved by that person, then why are you giving them your time, right? Why are you giving them access to you and your space? Like I'm just going to assume that you are an amazing fucking person, that you're an amazing friend, that you give and you're generous and you're thoughtful and you don't judge and you are supportive and you do everything that you can in your bandwidth to support someone, okay? If someone doesn't give that back to you, what are we doing? And I know that it's sad, but sometimes you got to subtract to add. You've got to remove things from your life in order to add to it. Okay. You need to create space. That's like you wasting your time with some toxic ex that you know is never going to change, but you're like bored and you haven't found anyone else. So you're going to spend the weekend with him and blah, blah, blah. Not realizing that if you just focused on yourself, you went to the farmer's market with your dog, you went to the gym, and then you went to the park and walked around, enjoyed the sunshine and read a book and blah, 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 that your person was going to literally find you at the park. Everything is an opportunity cost in life, okay? So if you are spending time with some dusty motherfucker, and I mean that in a friendship form as well, then you are not allowing great, incredible people to come into your life. And sometimes that means that you have to be alone. It's the same thing with dating. I know there's so many people who are like, it's so hard to make a friend in your adult life. Fuck yeah, it is. Like, but I would rather be alone working on myself. Let's say that I was, single and I just had Moose, like is very real. That was my life. I would focus on my life, my mental, doing the things that I like to do. And literally, God placed some of my incredible, incredible best friends in my life. He placed Troy in my life, and everything just really, really fell into place. And it's because I subtracted a lot of dusty motherfuckers, men and women. Okay. I said, I do not want to become like these people. So I am going to focus on myself. I would rather spend my weekends alone than I would turning into that. Just a reminder that people don't have like a lifetime membership to you. They don't get access to you just because they've known you forever, just because you guys went to college together, just because of this, okay? Something that just popped into my brain too, I'm reading some of these responses that I want to say out loud, okay, is both in a friendship, there has to be grace and understanding. And I say this kindly, and this might be a little contradictory to what I was just talking about, but you got to give grace to your friends, okay? People are not mind readers. People have their own lives going on. They have careers, they have families, they have spouses, they have hobbies, they have other things that they're doing. Like I was speaking in the beginning, but make sure that you are not like writing people off or saying that someone is a terrible friend because they're not like devoting every ounce of their energy to you. Does that make sense? Like there has to be a little bit of give and take, but also remembering that our friendships in college or when we're young single adults are very different than our friendships when we are adults, okay? We have so much more going on. That's why friends as adults are like so fucking sacred because you know that it takes so much intentionality, time, and effort to make those friendships work. It's not as easy as it was when we're all living together, smoking dope, doing fucking whatever. Anyway, okay, I'm just going to go through some of these that don't give away who it is and not going to like spill any of the beans here. How to dump a bestie that isn't supportive of you. Not everything deserves a conversation. Here's the struggle I feel like a lot of people have is they want to like say their 2 cents. They want to like explain their feelings. Not everything deserves that. Not everything is necessary of that. I don't know what you mean. That isn't supportive of you. Isn't supportive of you what? Like is judging you because you're cheating on your boyfriend, or isn't supportive of the new jewelry business that you've started. And what does that mean? Because in my opinion, a lot of people are like, oh, this person isn't supportive of me, blah, blah, blah. Well, what does that mean? Because some people I feel like are like, oh, well, she didn't buy any. Well, maybe she can't afford to buy your jewelry. And back to the whole mind reading thing, I feel like a lot of conversations are not had. They are just expected. For example, if I started a jewelry business on Etsy, and I was loving it and it was great and I was posting about it here and there, and I didn't say to my friends, hey guys, it would mean so much to me if you could like and comment on this post that I just made about my new venture. Like, love you guys so much. If someone doesn't do that free, extremely fast action, they're probably holding their phone in their hand on Instagram at that same time, then yeah, maybe that person fucking sucks and is jealous of you and blah, blah, blah. But if you don't say that, is that really fair? We can't just expect that people are reading our minds and know what we want and know how we feel supported. Like maybe that person has another friend who also started a jewelry business and they don't give a shit about the comments and they don't care about that kind of stuff. There's just a lot of like, I see it like on TikTok all the time, like these videos that people make like, oh, this person didn't do this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, what? Stop being such a fucking victim. Like, did you say it to them? Did you ask them, hey, it would really mean so much to me if you did this free thing for me. Love you so much. And you've also been a supportive person to them for God knows what. And that person doesn't do that free, simple task, then yeah, maybe that's a problem. But like, so I don't know how to dump. But again, if they're a shitty person, not everything deserves a conversation. Not everything needs closure. And that's what makes this so difficult. But like, keep that in mind. How to deal with selfish friends. Is there a way to fix it without ending the friendship? This is what's hard about these fucking question boxes is there's not a lot of context. But like selfish people, not the best kind of people to be friends with, obviously. You know what sucks is the feeling that someone is friends with you just to get things out of you. And that has happened to me before I had like some platform and all of that, right? It's a shitty feeling. The question of, is there a way to fix it without ending the friendship? I think the first step that I would take there, if it's really, really affecting the friendship, is to say something to them. Because a lot of people, everyone needs to read the book Crucial Conversations. I forget who wrote it. It's red and white on the front. I've read it so many fucking times. But if you can't have a level-headed, non-emotional as possible conversation with someone, telling them how you feel, again, no one is a mind reader. Say it. Say your feelings. Hey, and say it when it happens. You know what's so unfair and not correct is people who are like, hey, this happened 6 months ago and I've been thinking about it and blah, blah, blah. 6 fucking months ago? Dude, if you would have told me right then and there. One of the things that I respect so much about my friendships, the ones that I've had for decades and the ones that are, within the last 5 years, is we are all so fucking blunt and honest. Hey, when you said that made me feel X, Y, and Z. I'm sure that wasn't your intention, but I just wanted you to know. If that person, and they say, ooh, got it. So sorry. Yeah, I didn't obviously not mean it that way. I apologize. If that person continues to do that again and again and again, that person probably isn't the friend for you, right? But that is what has to happen. You have to, everyone has limited time. Everyone has limited bandwidth. We can't be making these things more difficult than they already are. Like, it's already so hard to keep friendships and put in that time and effort. Like, let's just be quick and blunt with each other. And if you're friends with someone and they can't accept that feedback or that conversation, again, maybe they're not the friend for you because maybe you have emotionally outgrown them. Maybe you are more emotionally mature and self-aware. Being friends with people who can't have those kind of conversations, extremely difficult. I would never. To answer your question, how to deal with selfish friends, is there a way to fix it without ending the relationship, have the conversation. If that conversation does not go well, they are not receptive, then ending the friendship doesn't really sound like the worst thing. This is a hot, spicy one. Thoughts on long-term friends, I won't say the amount of years that they put, unfollowing you over politics. Guys, do we not understand that that's what they're trying to do? They're trying to create the divide. Do you know how many of my friends have such differing political opinions? One of the most beautiful things about my friendships, I'll say, in my opinion, is that we can have differing opinions and non-emotional, level-headed conversations without screaming at each other, unfollowing each other, and cussing each other out. Do you know how beautiful of a world it would be if people could have those kind of conversations? Because yes, there are people who are way over here and there are people who are way over here, but I think majority of us are somewhere in the middle, kind of agree with this, but just want this. So yeah, I don't know the details of that. I think that if you are like so over here or so over here and someone thinks the opposite and they think that you're, what's the word, radical? Is that the word? You're like so aggressive about it and they unfollow you, then yeah, maybe they just don't want to see that shit. I mean, if I had friends who were, and again, I have best friends who think differently than me when it comes to politics on a lot of different things. To me, that is normal, but they are not on their social medias. I'm not on my social medias screaming radical things that they like wildly disagree with. You know what I mean? I don't know what you post about on your social media to make them unfollow you, or maybe you weren't even posting about it, but you were having a conversation, but they clearly are very stuck, let's say, in what they believe, and they are not open to a conversation. And I don't know if that's because you're really aggressive in your thoughts and opinions. I said this on election day a couple years ago. Hot tip, if you want to get someone to see your point of view, cussing them out, calling them names, degrading them is not going to get you fucking anywhere. It's actually just going to turn them away and make them say, oh, people who think this are X, Y, and Z, and people who think this are blah, blah, blah. It's like, again, that's what they want. They want us to fight with each other, forgetting that they're fucking pieces of shit. Like, what if we all came together and somewhat agreed on things and like moved forward? Like, what's that called? I vote for that. Anyway, okay, why do you think some friends make subtle digs and why don't I call them out? You don't call them out because you live in a scarcity mindset instead of an abundant mindset, which means that you are afraid to call them out because you are living in the scarcity mindset that they're not going to be friends with you anymore and you're never going to find another friend. That's why people stay in shitty relationships, in my opinion. Scarcity mindset. Don't be in that. It's like the definition of settling, keeping yourself small. Your life will not get better. Your life will not continue to get better and better and better if that's how you live. Just saying. Why do you think some friends make subtle digs though? Usually it stems from an insecurity. They are nervous that you are going to outgrow them. They are nervous that your life is going to get better and better. So they are trying to keep you down here. It's like why a lot of people who maybe, let's just say, for example, you went to high school with, they don't support you when something great happens to you because they view themselves as like cut from the same cloth as you. So they're like, fuck, she just did this and did this amazing thing, blah, blah, blah. And we like come from the same hometown or we come from the same environment or blah, blah, blah. We're cut from the same cloth. She did that. I didn't. It makes people feel shitty about themselves. That's why, in my opinion. So the subtle digs, they're so fucking annoying and they're so unnecessary and they know that they're doing them on purpose. Everyone needs to take my advice. Always. Everyone needs to take my advice from the dating, okay, and apply that to friendships because the desperate energy that I feel and see in some people, and just from like reading so many of the conversations with you guys, but like you'll have a friend, you're out in a public setting, someone makes a small dig at you, makes you feel like shit because they know like they're so close to you that they know really how to like poke your buttons, push your buttons, whatever. And then like your entire day is ruined, your night is ruined, right? And your aura changes and you just like get into like, oh, fuck. Don't do that. Do the fucking opposite. There are so many shitty people out there who like thrive on that control. This has happened to me, but have you ever been in a group setting where you're like saying something and someone makes like this little dig And it's like so unnecessary. It becomes so awkward, but then they see how you react. And if you're just like this, they feel like they've won. It's like a power trip that these fucking terrible people need. Men do it, but women do it all the time. My advice there, have a couple things in the back of your mind that you can say to them to put them in their place. For example, one of my favorites, if someone says something to me that's clearly a dig, I will say something like, wow, what an interesting thing to say out loud. I'm shocked that you feel comfortable saying that out loud. Something like that, I have said that before. I felt on top of the fucking world because that person was just like, what? And everyone around was like, ooh, it's like, you're not going to fucking say that to me. There's a bunch of little things like that you can say to someone who is disrespecting you and giving you a little dig. And it gives like a little dig to dig reminder that like, you're not going to say that fucking shit to me. Sorry. I'm not a doormat. What an interesting thing to say out loud. I'm surprised you feel comfortable saying that out loud. Two of my faves. Another one, how to let go when you know it's not serving you anymore. I can't seem to do that right now. Again, scarcity mindset. You are just afraid that you're not going to find other or better friends. Let it go. Subtraction is necessary for addition. Friends that cheer you on as long as you're not doing better than they are. It's so sad. 1000% cut from the same cloth. Okay, I really want to talk about this one. How to handle a friend who rarely checked in on you pregnancy and postpartum. Here is something that I will say. If that person has never been pregnant, never been postpartum, the amount of regret that I have after having Lennon and being postpartum that I wasn't there for my other friends who were pregnant and postpartum before me is wild. I truly had no fucking clue. So is that an opportunity to give grace? For example, when I would go and visit my friends who had just had a baby, I'd be like, oh my gosh, let me hold the baby, like blah, blah, blah. And they'd go and get me a water and like bring it to the couch. And I would show up empty handed and I'd like come whenever I wanted because I just thought they wanted to like be with me and blah, blah, blah. No, don't do that. That's a whole other episode, honestly, of how to support a friend who is pregnant, how to support a friend who is postpartum. I mean, I could talk about that for days, but I will say that I learned so much of that from being pregnant and postpartum myself. I did not realize the toll that postpartum was. I did not realize what would actually be helpful. Like me going over to hold the baby might be helpful, but it also might not. Like, get your ass up, take the trash out. Could you do their dishes? Like, there's just other things that we could discuss. Never show up empty-handed. Don't ask fucking questions that make them think. Say something like, hey, I'm getting you dinner tonight. Would you rather have pizza or Italian? And let them like say one or two, right? Don't be like, hey, what time can we come by and see the baby? Don't fucking do that, okay? And give grace. So, but if somebody rarely checked in on you, pregnancy and postpartum, maybe you reached out to them, they didn't reach back, like, right, like you're not trying to just like assume that they know exactly what to do or what you need or what you want. But if someone didn't check in on you and you were good, if you feel that that person like should have checked in on you and they didn't, I don't know. I feel like not everything needs a conversation. Not everything needs an explanation. Sometimes it is just like, if I want you to think about, if you stopped reaching out to that person, would the relationship end? Because if the answer is yes, then that person probably doesn't want to be friends with you. And that's really fucking hard to hear. There's a lot of selfish friends out there. There's a lot of one-sided friendships out there. So just a couple questions to ask yourself as far as pregnancy and postpartum goes. Make sure that you are definitely giving grace if someone has never been through that themselves. A lot of these questions of like how to handle someone who's toxic, how to handle someone who's this, how to handle someone who's this, you don't have to. Like, have an abundant mentality, have an opportunistic mindset. Give grace 1000% where necessary. Like, people are not mind readers. They don't know exactly what you need. If you're not willing to have a crucial conversation with someone, like, hey, when you said this, it really made me uncomfortable, which is an uncomfortable conversation to have. But if you are not willing to have that as a grown adult, then your friendships are not going to be what you want and need them to be. That's me just being dead ass honest. Okay, I have to go get Lennon up from her nap, but I hope that was somewhat helpful. I just want everyone to really remember that, like, friendships, if you're similar to my age, then friendships take a lot of work. Back and forth, back and forth. You have to give grace to each other. But if someone is shitty, if someone makes you feel like shit, if someone makes you feel small, same exact thing with dating. If you feel like someone doesn't like you and doesn't want to be friends with you, they don't. It's the same thing with a man. If you feel like he doesn't want to see you, if you're not his top priority, then you're not. And obviously with a friendship, again, if you're near my age, then your friends are most likely not your number one priority. And that can be really hurtful, especially if someone is single, doesn't have kids, doesn't have those responsibilities. And now their friend has kids, has a husband, has their family, his family, all of that. That can be really hard because now that person, their priorities shift around. And that is so fucking sad. But it's kind of the truth. And I am a firm believer that, like, you know, what is it from Sex and the City where it's like, maybe our girlfriends are our soulmates and men are just here to have fun with. Like, I am such a girl's girl. I love my friends so fucking much, but my friendships work because there is so much mutual respect, understanding, support, praise, comfort, honest fucking conversations. And if there isn't, then I promise those people are out there. When I moved to Atlanta, I was, quote, friendless. I had my friends from college, the girls I was talking about in the beginning, but none of them live here. They all live in New England. They all live up north in the Northeast. I was here alone, and I said, I would rather be alone than be friends with people I don't want to become like. If I had stayed friends with some of the people that I was friends with when I moved here, and I mean this respectfully, but my life would be so different. And I didn't want it to be like that. I wanted to think differently, move differently, have different things. And I'm so grateful that I did that. And I mean that with love. And I don't think I say that humbly, right? But like, that's what I wanted to do. And it took being alone and having an abundant mindset to move on from that. And it's very difficult. So there's a lot of messages of like, I'm so sad about this. How do I let this person go? How do I move on? Friendship breakups are fucking devastating, dude. Like, they are so fucking sad. Sometimes they're sadder than romantic breakups, but sometimes it has to be done. You got to subtract to add. And I know that sucks, but anyway, I love you guys. I love this community that we've built so much. Oh, today I'm going to choose the winners from the YouTube comments. I'm going to do it again this week. So on YouTube, just subscribe to my channel. That sounds so like Lizzie McGuire. Like, subscribe to my channel. I don't know why. Maybe it was Hannah Montana. I don't fucking know. And I'll choose from the comments of this video. Just let me know like your favorite part of the episode or something like that. And I'll choose some more winners. I find it so fun and exciting. But I love you guys, and I hope you have a great week. Mwah.